Welcome to the Gworl Code podcast, where we empower Black women to take control of their lives, finances, and futures. I'm your host, Destiny. Today, we're diving into a crucial topic, the impact of over-apologizing on our mental health. Get ready for a raw and honest conversation. As Black women, we're often expected to be strong, resilient, and selfless. We're taught to put others' needs before our own, to be polite and accommodating, and to avoid conflict at all costs. But what happens when this people-pleasing behavior becomes a pattern? What happens when we start to lose ourselves in the process of trying to please everyone else? I want to ask you, have you ever felt like you're constantly apologizing for taking up space, for having an opinion, or simply existing? Have you ever felt like you're walking on eggshells trying not to offend anyone, even if it means sacrificing your own needs and desires? If so, you're not alone. In fact, research has shown that Black women are more likely to experience anxiety, depression, and other mental health issues due to the constant pressure to conform to societal expectations. It's time for us to break free from the cycle of over-apologizing and start prioritizing our own mental health and well-being. So let's get real and get honest. Let's talk about the ways in which over-apologizing has affected our lives, and let's explore strategies for building our confidence, setting healthy boundaries, and prioritizing our own needs. Get ready for a conversation that will empower, inspire, and uplift you. As Black girls and women, we're often socialized to prioritize others' needs over our own. Research shows that this people-pleasing behavior is deeply ingrained, with 60% of Black women reporting that they feel pressure to conform to societal expectations. We're taught to be polite, accommodating, and apologetic. But what happens when this behavior becomes a pattern? When we constantly apologize for our existence, our thoughts, and our feelings? The consequences are staggering. Studies have shown that over-apologizing can lead to increased anxiety, with 71% of Black women experiencing anxiety due to societal expectations. It can also foster self-doubt, with 64% of Black women reporting that they struggle with self-doubt due to internalized racism. Furthermore, over-apologizing can lead to a lack of boundaries, making it difficult for us to prioritize our own needs and desires. I graduated this past May, but I still reminisce about the days I'd sit in class surrounded by 20 or more students that didn't look like me, hoping that the professor wouldn't discuss a topic that he looked to me to provide the Black perspective on, until he did. I don't recall the topic that we were discussing, but I feel that it was different ways in which we communicate with friends, our peers, and professors. A comment was made regarding an inappropriate joke being told, and the person wondered why this world was full of this newfound cancel culture and everyone being too sensitive. To which a classmate responded, "So you think it's okay to share your racist bleep joke with your racist bleep friends?" The professor interjected before he could answer. After class, he pulled me aside and apologized for the way that discussion spiraled. In return, I apologized for being too afraid to speak up for fear that I'd make someone uncomfortable. Now I look back and wish I said to hell with it. Stood up and asked him to tell me the joke he felt was so funny he couldn't share with his Black friends, if he had any. That's just one story of the numerous times I found myself apologizing for simply existing. I over-apologized for not wanting to take up too much space, asking for help, expressing my emotions romantically, and when disagreeing to avoid being seen as confrontational or difficult. It's time to recognize the weight of over-apologizing and how it affects our mental health. By acknowledging the impact of this behavior, we can begin to break free from the cycle of people-pleasing and prioritize our own well-being. So how do we break free from the cycle of over-apologizing? First, we must recognize the pattern and acknowledge its impact on our lives. Then, we can start practicing assertiveness, setting boundaries, and prioritizing our own needs. I'll never forget the moment I realized the suffocating impact of over-apologizing on my life. I started noticing that I was becoming quieter, hoping to avoid being seen as too outspoken or opinionated. I'd arrive excessively early to class, sometimes hours before, to avoid disrupting the other students. I'd sit near the door, poised to slip out unnoticed if I needed to excuse myself rather than risk interrupting the professor's lecture. In conversations about diversity and inclusion in Black culture, I'd remain neutral, avoiding the pressure to provide the Black perspective and risk being told how I should have articulated it. This self-imposed silence gave me intense anxiety. Every time my name was called, I'd feel compelled to apologize before responding. I felt small, trapped in a box of my own making, desperate to please anyone and everyone else except myself. As time went on, this behavior took a devastating toll on my mental health. I developed depression, and the ease with which I once expressed myself was replaced with hesitation and self-doubt. I became a prisoner in my own head, convinced that my feelings and happiness were expendable if it meant avoiding someone else's discomfort. At the beginning of the year, I was a people pleaser nightmare. I couldn't say no, and my default response to "can you help me with" was an unequivocal yes. I was a perpetual giver, draining myself to fuel the needs of others, but beneath this facade of selflessness lay a desperate craving for validation. I yearned to be loved and accepted, and I mistakenly believed that being needed was synonymous with being loved. I recall the exhaustion, the emotional toll of constantly putting others first. I felt like a shell of myself, a mere specter of the person I once was. But the wake-up call came when I realized that those I was sacrificing for didn't truly care about my well-being. They only needed me until they didn't. That's when I made the conscious decision to choose myself. I started small, learning to say no by not responding to messages or calls that didn't serve me. I became unreachable and inaccessible to those who only wanted to drain me. And you know what? It was liberating. As I continued on this journey of self-discovery, I rediscovered passions I thought I lost. I started reading again, devouring books that nourished my soul. I began writing poetry, unshackled from the need for external validation. I found solace in the quiet moments where I could recharge and refill my cup. I realized that I couldn't pour from an empty cup, and I refused to be used and discarded like a disposable vessel. I chose to prioritize my own happiness, my own healing, and in doing so, I found a sense of purpose and fulfillment that I never knew before. As a Black woman, regaining confidence and building self-esteem requires a deliberate commitment to self-love and self-care. By recognizing and challenging the negative self-talk and societal expectations that have held us back, we can begin to reclaim our power and worth. Setting healthy boundaries is crucial as it allows us to prioritize our own needs and desires without apology. By saying no without guilt and yes without expectation, we can learn to honor our own voices and values. Prioritizing ourselves means recognizing that our well-being is not selfish, but essential. And that by taking care of ourselves, we become more whole, more healed, and more empowered to live our lives on our terms. Through this journey of self-discovery and growth, we can emerge stronger, more confident, and more unapologetically ourselves. It's time to reclaim our power and stop apologizing for who we are. We deserve to take up space, to express ourselves, and to be heard. Check out the links in the description for articles about how to build self-confidence, become a healthy giver, and how to stop over-apologizing. Breaking free from the cycle of over-apologizing requires support and community. Surround yourself with people who uplift and affirm you. Seek out therapy or counseling to work through underlying issues. Black women can find solace and support in various online communities, specially designed for their unique experiences and challenges. For instance, the online forum, Black Women's Health Imperative, provides a safe space for Black women to discuss health issues, share personal stories, and connect with others who understand their struggles. Similarly, the Sister Circle Facebook group offers a supportive environment for Black women to share their thoughts, feelings, and experiences without fear or judgment. Other online resources such as the Glow Up and Essence cater to the interests and concerns of Black women, providing articles, podcasts, and webinars on topics like self-care, relationships, career development, and social justice. These platforms also feature stories of inspiring Black women who have overcome obstacles and achieved success in various fields. Additionally, online therapy platforms like Therapy for Black Girls and Black Mental Health offer accessible and culturally sensitive mental health resources, including therapy sessions and support groups. Social media platforms like Instagram and Twitter have also given rise to vibrant communities of Black women who share their experiences, offer support, and celebrate each other. Hashtags like Black Girl Magic, Black Women Lead, and Sisterhood provide a way for Black women to connect, share their stories, and find solidarity with others who understand their unique challenges and triumphs. These online communities serve as a reminder that Black women are not alone and that there are resources available to support their well-being and empowerment. Today, we confronted the impact of over-apologizing on our mental health. It's time to take action and break free from this cycle. Remember, your voice matters, your feelings are valid, and your existence is worthy of respect. As we conclude this conversation, we invite you to continue the dialogue on social media using the hashtag BlackWomanRise, sharing your own experiences, thoughts, and stories of resilience and empowerment. Feel free to connect with us on Instagram at Gworl Code Podcast. Join the conversation and let's rise together. Thanks for tuning in to Gworl Code Podcast. Until next time, stay empowered and keep shining.